How you doing, Kent?
How's it going, Russell? All right.
Where am we?
Keeping okay?
Yeah, sound, mate. Sound. Uh, what did you think to the show, mate?
I thought there was good and good and bad in it. I suppose you know what the good is, what I'm going to say about the good, but you also know what I'm going to say about the bad.
Yeah. Where do you want to start, Kent?
You know that I suppose the only good thing was that we're not getting dug up singers from the '90s, the likes of Busta Rhymes, to bore us to death for 45 minutes. So I suppose I've learned something.
Yeah. Well, I think we should start with the Dubois pulling out deal.
Very strange.
Strangers out, isn't it?
You're looking as fit. I seen him in the media workout. He looked as fit as I've ever seen him. Sharp. He looked a lot better conditioned. And hours later, he's too ill to fight. It doesn't. Something doesn't add up, Russell.
No, it doesn't, does it, mate?
And I'm not buying this. A cold. If you have a head cold or a runny nose or you're not feeling well, the information is changing all the time. What was wrong with him. So I'm not buying it for a second. I don't the magnitude of that fight, that there was multi-million pounds event. That this wasn't like an exchange show. That this was a multi-million pound event. Basically, a lot of the interest, yes, that IBF and Bivol was the main attraction and the real big fight of the night. But the fight that probably draw the most interest is the heavyweight division and the heavyweight fight between Dubois and Joseph Parker. And you know how boxing is run. You know the business. The way I would be thinking was if there was something really minuscule, we'd be allowed to pull out at the last minute. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't, mate. There's something just not right about it. I think after Bricktop's interview on Box Nation, I think it was Omar. We're talking about medication that they took, and then they sought advice from a doctor and pulled him out. I mean, what were all that about?
He also said in that interview as well that there was medication that he took that wasn't VADA listed, was prohibited VADA, which is when I seen that right away. I was actually out getting a lunchtime meal on Friday, fucking Friday, and forgot my headphones, and this was packed, and I had to catch up. So I was just sitting there with my phone on loudspeaker watching all these interviews, and people were looking at me like, "Who's this ignoramus?" But I had to hear it, and he said something like, "Yeah, the medication he had was making him drowsy." And then he made a comment about the medication he was taking wasn't approved by VADA or UCADA or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself there, well, for me that's like, but that for me that's
That's
where
a
I'm
red
starting to
flag, innit?
think, well, that's the red flag. That is the red flag for me. That's the smoke screen already. If anything does come out, he will say, "Yeah, well, we were given this medication, by the doctor or whatever." It all doesn't add up, Russell. For me, it doesn't add up. Well,
Okay. Can I just give a big shout out to legendary boxing guru Peter De Freitas? We've got Peter back on Wednesday afternoon. Looking good for that one. We've got Jerry on Wednesday. Adam and Tim. He's just had another win out there in Thailand. Tim on Wednesday. Andy tonight, and James is on as well. But we're joined by Kent from Northern Ireland. Uh, so where does Dubois go now then, Kent?
It depends what's going on. You're going to know if it's 6 months down the line. If nothing's been planned, you know there's something wrong. You know, if you have a flu or a head cold, it's not going to take you 6 months to a year to recover from it, is it?
No. No.
And the idea of a lot of people were saying to me during the week that during the weekend that what happened was that Dubois wanted Usyk fight, so he had just pulled out of this. Doesn't work like that. You know, these guys that run boxing now, they're not going to let anybody do that. They're just going to, dictate to them. They're the people that bankroll on boxing now, and they have a massive say what's going on. They would not let that happen whenever they've invested millions in this event, invested money in advertising, travel. Everything about this event was all basically based on Dubois Parker. It wasn't the headline fight, but was the headline attraction fight. And there was a lot of money at stake for this fight. You know, who's going to fight Usyk next? There's no way they're just going to let Dubois pull out of the Parker fight and just sit and wait until Usyk wants to fight again. That's not going to happen. No way.
No, I see where you're coming from. Do you think that Dubois bottled it, the Parker pie, or do you think that there's something more sinister, Ken? That's what we need to get to the bottom of.
No, I don't think that's nonsense because he went in, he fought. Look at his last couple of fights. Who he's fought. You know, he destroyed AJ. He blitzed AJ. You know, he fought Big Baby Miller. You know, he went in with Hrgovic, won that fight convincingly. He fought, obviously, Usyk. He bottled it in that fight. So, all them fighters on paper, with the exception of Big Baby Miller and probably AJ, that leaves Hrgovic, was a much dangerous fight than Joseph Parker. So for me, I can't see that. I'm not buying that for a second.
No. Well, you're not buying it that he cheated, no?
I don't know. I can't say it because I don't want to end up getting sued. But basically, you know, why would you bottle a fight on the last second whenever you're going to get an absolute fortune for it? Like, he was getting a fortune for that fight on Saturday night. Why would you go through a camp and spend thousands on travel, chefs, coaching, sparring partners, make your way the whole way out there to just pull out with in mind you're going to pull out at the last minute? It doesn't make sense. I don't buy it.
I see where you're coming from, mate. I see where you're coming from.
What do you think?
Well, after Bricktop's explanation, well, I don't know what to think. I mean, are they trying to give us half a story in case it comes out that he has done something he shouldn't be doing? And why would you pull somebody out 4 hours after they were bouncing about, grinning and laughing and joking and saying they're ready for a fight? But he was very quiet leading up to the fight, wasn't
he? He always is, Russell. He's not exactly somebody you want to hang out with in a party or socialize with. You know, you're lucky if you get 2 words out of him. He's never been that social. So I'm not going to say, oh, I didn't really say this, he didn't really say that. He's like that all the time, Russell.
I've only ever heard him say 2 words anyway, Kent, me.
Yeah, I'm the same. He's very introverted. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, he's a boxer and he'll let his fist do the talking. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. He is always very quiet anyway, so there's nothing I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lead too much into that.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, we were told that Martin McCauley were going to do the business and that he'd had an 8 week camp. Their words, not ours. And obviously, Adam Catchell said on Talksport he had to catch 4 aeroplanes. And I don't know if that's true. I've heard three. I've also heard two, but they arrived between 2 and 3 a.m. and for the on that day the weigh-in and fought obviously the next day. Uh, come all the way from the Congo. He then said he didn't have a camp and he's last trained in August. And they go on about safety and of the fighter is paramount on that. That's why they pulled Dubois out. But where's the safety for Bacoli?
I think it's just preposterous. You know that you haven't trained since August. He was 315 pounds. I don't know what that weighs in stone.
22 stone 7.
Massive. Like that's massive. The amount of it's like a John Gotti film. It's like training automobiles. It was absolutely brutal. I would let somebody travel that amount of time, be allowed to fight in that short a space of time, not even getting acclimatized, not even getting a proper
I'm
night's
struggling to
sleep.
hear you, Kent. It sounds a bit like it's all muffly. Sorry, mate.
It's it's just it's basically it was like train planes and automobiles. So it's like John Candy, high board, let him travel that distance on that amount of airtime and not even get a night's sleep. I seen him in the pod doing pods in the changing room. I was like, he's gonna get smashed here. He looked half asleep. There should be something there that the board actually say, well, within a last minute replacement of say 2 or 3 days, you have to be in with a radius, like a certain amount of travel time to be allowed to be deemed safe. I think it was an absolute shambles. To be fair, it was embarrassing. It really was. I think Martin Bacoli and Billy Nelson have been singing, off the rooftops for years about what a good fighter he is and how dangerous he is, and we have seen glimpses of that. We've seen the demolition job of Johnson, and from that, that's really built his brand up. It's got people actually talking about what a good fighter he is. It's basically all the work they've done over the last couple of years and trying to get fights and opportunities, align themselves be a promoter. It's basically all been undone because of Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, before the fight, we had people like the Gad and Juggies Oliver saying it's a great fight, and Juggies said it's a better fight than the Dubois fight. Eddie Hills were bigging it up, so were Bricktop, and now they've all set about Macaulay, haven't they?
Yeah, which is really unfair. It's extremely hypocritical that they can say that before the fight, then basically go 360 on it. It's like have an opinion on it before and say, well, bring it up what we just said there. Highlight the issues that yeah, he's going to be traveling for up to 14 hours. He's going to be on multiple planes. He hasn't trained since August. How's this fight going to be a headline fight? A marquee fight on this card. How is it safe for him to get in the ring when he hasn't been hit since August? He hasn't done any sparring. He's had no basic conditioning. The amount of hours he's travelled, the lack of sleep that he's had when he got there. How is that ideal preparation for a heavyweight interim title fight?
Yeah, it's not good, is it? And like I said, it looks to me like they just wanted to get Parker a win, but I know a lot of people are saying Parker needs a world title shot, but he's just beating old fat men, isn't he?
Well, he beat Zhang. Zhang got beat again. He had a Wilder win, which Wilder didn't look like Wilder. I don't know who that guy in the ring was against Joseph Parker. The same against Sang. He had that win in Saturday night. He has been matched very, very well. Now, no one after just turning around saying, well, you know what? It's winner stays on you. Your fights every season.
Ken, I can't. There's something happening with your microphone or something. I can't hear you, mate.
That's the best I can do, Russell. That's all
All
I've
right.
got.
Okay. Okay. Billy Nelson, does he have a role in this? Is his manager and trainer? Do you think he's out of order? Yes or no?
I think they shouldn't have took out Russell if he was that. If he hadn't in August, why did they take?
Yeah. Why would you put somebody in a fight who's not trained since August?
They don't need to make a championship weight. They don't need to. They don't need to cut down and make weight or cut weight like other weight divisions, like lighter fighters. You have your check, you have your rehydration. You didn't need to make weight, but you also need to be in condition. With any fight that you're in, regardless if you're a heavyweight, if you're a lightweight, if you're a flyweight, you be conditioned because it's heavyweight boxing. These guys are punching, even a light punching heavyweight will still inflict a lot of damage on a fighter, regardless of conditioned or not. And Parker weighed in a career heavy and was considered he looked extremely strong. I think they shouldn't have took the fight, Russell. I think it just damages their brand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Derek Chisora said he's still got the Jagba fight and a final eliminator, but I can't see how, per IBF rules, he can have a final eliminator after coming off a loss. Can you?
Well, Billy Nelson said last night that the Jagba fight was still there, but whether or not it was going to be in a final eliminator for the IBF, I don't think it will. Will the Jagba fight even happen? You look at when that fight is. It's May. He's going to need to go in the camp very, very soon, Russell. Because with the state that he was in on Saturday night, he would need to do minimum 10 weeks and he'll need to start ASAP. It's one of them things now that he got the Jagba fight and the IBF final eliminator off previous performances, and that was basically the Gerard Anderson fight. Now he's lost. The brand's damaged.
Yeah, it is, and it's a shame in it really because they've took that for money, and now he was one fight away from a title shot. Now he'll be at bottom of the pile, won't he?
And he is a very dangerous fighter. So basically, now the people will use the stick to beat them with. Now it'll be like, well, you've lost, so why should we fight a guy who's losing? What are we going to get out of a losing fighter? That's going to be the argument now. That's going to be the smoke screen for people to say, well, we're going to fight you. I think it was a move. I think they should have waited for the Jagba fight. I think the Jagba fight, someone who is very, very able, F.A. Jagba is very, very able. So he's a permanent stale Hey Wilder. I think it would have been a really winnable fight. I think it's an easier fight for Buckley than the Anderson fight. But Jagba they'll probably say now, we're denying a world title opportunity. We're not going to get that out of fighting after coming off a loss. So will that fight actually happen now? Does it even have the brand value that it had a week ago? Don't think so.
No, I don't. It's he's in a tight spot now, isn't he?
And what's the situation with Ben Shalom? There was a thing there at the weekend. That was his last fight with Ben Shalom. Where does he go after this? So Frank Warren has got all the heavyweights now, basically all of them. So I'm not sure where it goes, but I am sure that basically was a bit of a disaster. And it's okay, Billy. I'm not going to come on here and slate Billy Nelson because I'm been always very complimentary of Billy Nelson, and I think he's one of the good guys in boxing. I think he's a guy that is very passionate about his fighters, and I'm fond of him. So I'm not going to just come on and just slag Billy Nelson like everybody else does. But I don't think at that time, I think they thought it's either heart or your head, and they thought with emotion in their head and knocked out.
Yeah. Do you think that guys like McCauley and like Joe Joyce, he would do a title shot with WBO and they put Zhang in front of him? And do you think fighters sometimes their handlers get greedy and they don't think of the bigger picture?
I think the whole thing with Joyce, he was in for so long. What was happening with Undisputed, I think he kind of fell into that where either you wait out for 2 years and you don't get paid, or you take a chance. For me, I thought that Zhang was extremely dangerous for Joe Joyce, and subsequently he's lost to Derek Chisora from that. He's had another beating from Zhang, and I think he doesn't look like the same fighter now. This was a guy at one stage who we were talking about could potentially beat AJ, potentially give Fury trouble. He was waiting in the wings as the next sort of big champion that was going to come in there, and now he's in absolute no man's land. He was beat basically before Riyadh season had been established, and now all these guys are now hanging on the coattails of Riyadh season, and Dubois trying to climb back. He would be good at it. I think it's all down to matchmaking, and I think matchmaking, the key thing is in boxing is timing. It's timing. Good matchmaking is all down to good timing. And unfortunately, that there wasn't any good matchmaking. There was good matchmaking earlier on for Joe Joyce because he went very quickly from off European international. He's fighting everyone, but I think that stall with COVID at Undisputed, it didn't work out timing wise, and I think you have to blame the manager. Promoter will promote the fights, but it's all down to the promoter can offer you the fight, but it's all down to the manager. They actually approve that and go ahead with it.
What did you think to size of McCauley's belly?
I was surprised he even got his shorts on.
And how fat as a pig Michelin man can.
He just wasn't conditioned. You could see like a unit. He is a big man. You don't see heavyweights with abs cut. It's what you could see that he was not conditioned to be in a fight of that magnitude, or not of any fight of any magnitude.
Yeah, yeah, I see where you're coming from, mate. I see where you're coming from. Uh, did you see that he had Triple D's gloves on, didn't he?
Yeah, well, Triple D wears the fly gloves anyway, and he always has his branding on it. So there was probably no other gloves for Buckley to pick. I suppose they were the same weight and been approved. So I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Joshua. Before we finish the rest of this show, I just want to touch on Joshua. They're talking Joshua Wilder now and Joshua Fury again. Can we stomach this anymore, Ken?
No, I'm done with it. I think we just need to move on. Boxing needs to move on. I don't want to hear about Fury and Joshua anymore. We've been hearing that shite for 5 years. I'm sick of it. I don't think Fury. I think Fury dislikes AJ that much. There's going to be a lot of resentment there from Fury. Fury went and won the heavyweight title in Germany away. Where Vladimir was before Vladimir turned into an old man, so to speak. He done the heavy lifting. He went away and won the title in Germany. Then obviously went through all that. Basically went off the rails, retired. And then AJ stepped in there, was given an IBF title on a platter against Charles Martin, who's now he's calling out Moses Atama, which is mad. He got that. And then he fought a retired, basically a 41-year-old Vlad, and went, life and death with him, won the title, and made millions, like nobody's, selling out Cardiff, obviously Wembley was made a lot of traction, and there's Fury running about at 27 stone and been forgotten about, and he's made AJ has made a lot of money, fighting the likes of Eric Molina, tack arms, and basically I thought it was more manufactured than any fighter of the last 10 years at Matchroom. And Fury has to come back. And obviously, the whole top rank thing got him in Wilder. But there will still be resentment. I would still say there's resentment there from Fury with AJ. Fury done it the harder way than what AJ did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. Uh, Caballel and Zhang, what did you make of that, Ken?
I thought it was a really measured performance from Caballel. He's a different type of heavyweight fighter. He's not a big one punch hitter. He's not like even Zhang. Zhang's a power hitter. He's not a Dubois. Dubois is a power hitter. He works the body very well. He works angles very well. He moves around. He's always pivoting and moving around. He's a brilliant heavyweight. Like he punches up and down. He's very smart. He's extremely fit. He's brave. Caballel comes from a kickboxing background, and he's actually got the same coach as he had when he was kickboxing. You could see why Caballel is very, very avoided. Like there was one stage that during COVID that Fury was going to fight Caballel behind closed doors. It's a good job they didn't, because Caballel is a very, very dangerous fighter, a really good fighter. I think I would like to see they're talking about Parker against Usyk. I don't think that draws Russell. I don't think Usyk would want that fight. It doesn't really excite me at all. I would get more excited watching Caballel against Parker than Parker against Usyk.
Would you?
Absolutely. I, I'm not sure the roadmap next for Usyk. I could see Jay Apataya going in there and fighting Usyk very soon, very, very soon. So good. I think that's the fight that would be really exciting, really, really exciting. That would get me more excited than watching Joseph Parker against Usyk.
Well, they're talking Joseph Parker Usyk at the moment, aren't they?
They're talking it, but is it a fight that people are going to be screaming for? Is it a fight that's going to excite people? I would be more excited about Jay Apatai stepping up, who is an absolute wrecking machine at cruiserweight, who's got a really exciting style. And you're thinking, bro, he's going to unify two divisions. He's looking to do now what Usyk's done. There's a caveat to that where it's Joseph Parker getting another title shot. I would rather see Jay Apatow. There's more long term. What's better? Putting the belt, given Jay Apatow an opportunity to put the belt in him and go on and be the next heavyweight sensation, or Joseph Parker at the end of his career getting the title fight. It doesn't kind of add up. Moses Atom was probably a year away from fighting Dubois. So I don't know. I like to think brave. I like to be different. I would like to see Jay Apatow next against Usyk. I would be more excited by that than any of them other fights.
Okay. Do you want to go on to part two, pal?
Yeah.
Cheers. Please join us on part two, where we will be joined by Kent. Pop, pop, bang. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Leaving a comment. Booyaka.